I'm Megan.
I'm CJ.
And I'm Erica.
And this is the Her Podcast.
Okay, this is a fun one because this guest is actually someone who knows CJ from her camp days. We are sitting down with entrepreneur and founder of Devon Lang, Tyler McCombs. If you don't know what Devon Lang is, I want you to quickly pause this and go check it out on Instagram because it's amazing. We're chatting with Tyler about building a brand through the pandemic, the power of pivoting for growth, leaving his long-term career to launch his business, and the impact of supporting vulnerable communities with a basic necessity through life-changing underwear. Yes, life-changing underwear. We actually all got gifted some of these little Gitchies and we're big fans. We're 100% sold on the brand. They are the most comfortable underwear we've ever worn. So you're going to go need to check it out, but make sure you also turn it up. Everything is content.
Everything is
content.
Everything is we were trying to figure out who to have on when we came to Calgary.
Yeah.
And I was literally, I think I just told them about the underwear you guys sent me.
Yeah.
And I was like, are they from Calgary? So I DM'd and I was just like, are you from Calgary? No reference. And she responded. And then all of a sudden I was like, let's reach out to them. And she messages us and she's like, I know the owner.
And we're like, wow.
So,
Well, what happened is you pulled up the social page. She's like, I was like, show me Devon Lang. And she was like, okay. So she pulled it up and scrolled and I saw your face. And I was like, that's Tyler. I was like, I know him.
Okay, so how do you guys know each other though?
Yeah. Well,
Camp Camisole.
Yes.
So we know each other. We both
Yes.
camp counselors.
Once again, I'm the only person that's never been to camp.
no,
which
Megan's
this
never
is
done
the
camp.
where my husband is from. And I don't know if did your wife go to camp as well?
She didn't. No,
Okay.
my wife's been all over the place.
Yeah.
but not at
Yeah.
Camp Camisole.
Okay. I
Missing
wasn't
out
quite
big
sure.
time.
Yeah. No, she should have
And
gone.
I need to know
I've heard camp is
the best.
I'm very sad that I never got to go to camp as a child.
No.
It was
After
great.
listening to these two.
That year was the one year that I was a counselor. I'd only ever been a camper as a kid, and then I did 1 year as a counselor. It was amazing. I loved the time. I just wasn't able to go back again. So that was the last year I was actually at camp.
Which is
Camisole.
funny because, you think about it as an adult, it's hard to actually take time off to counsel,
Yeah.
right? So I think you would have been counseling. I think I would have
Yeah.
been CITing. I think
Yeah.
your whole family was there.
Oh, yeah.
I think Tyson was CITing
Yeah.
and Brittany was a
yes.
a
Brittany was
camper.
there too. That's right. As
Right?
a camper. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, Tyson was there a lot more because he's a pastor. Oh, I need to be. Hold on.
You're looking at her.
Do you want to pull it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Like
just
like
adjust.
this?
Yes, you just adjust.
Oh, look at you.
Make the mic work for you.
Oh,
Make
you're
the
a pro.
mic for me. Okay, there we go.
I want to know what
This is better.
I want to know what your camp name was.
Thank you. That was my
man.
question.
My camp
actually
name was,
couldn't remember
It
it.
was the weakest camp name possibly ever. I was Parmy is what my camp name was.
Did you like Parmesan?
No, you know what it was? At the
remember.
time, I was a server at Earl's, and there was a Parmesan dip that I don't know who it was, but someone's like, man, I love the Earl's Parmesan dip. And they're like, you're Parmy. And I was like, I'm going to school for psychology. Give me a cool psychology name or something like that. And they're like, no, this guy's Parmy.
Well, and then
This
they
is what
don't
it's
let
gonna
you
be.
change it.
It's yours forever.
Yes.
Hilarious.
Maybe that's why I never went back.
Yeah.
He's like, no.
I'm not gonna be 20
Well,
years as Parmy. It's just,
CJ said when you guys were DMing, you were like singlet.
Oh yeah. I was like, what was yours again? What was yours?
Singlet.
that's right, singlet.
Yeah.
I only went to camp as a camper.
Right.
I
so
never did.
That's why we gave you one.
No,
Or we were brainstorming.
yes.
Okay.
You got a camp name?
No,
On the
I only
an
podcast.
honorary camp name?
Yeah.
What is it?
We made it up because we made
Princess Sparkle Fart.
Princess Sparkle Fart. I mean, it doesn't quite fit with the Camp Camisole aesthetic.
No.
But I mean, you know what?
We were sitting there.
let it
Well, we were like
slide.
the pink pineapple, and then we were like princess. Because I'm actually quite muted today, but
You're
I
very
typically
muted.
am in big puffy dresses, and so we kind of gave that name to me. And
Well, you know what else I think is funny is when I was doing your intake, you were at Market Mall
Oh, yeah.
working with Apple.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Years.
worked at Market Mall
What did
at
you do at
Fruits
Market
and
Mall?
Passion.
Fruits and Passion.
Yes.
Were you guys on opposite ends of the mall?
Slightly.
Slightly.
But what I thought was nuts, because I felt like I knew everyone in the mall. I never once saw you in the mall.
That's
Which
insane.
you probably didn't leave the Apple
I was
store
there
much.
for 10 years.
I know. And I was with Fruits and Passion for 10 years.
Holy cow.
Yeah, but then I
That's
worked
wild.
into district management. So then
Oh,
I was
okay.
more traveling across
Yeah.
BC, Alberta.
That's right.
So I wasn't so much just in that store. But when I saw that,
the tech people weren't really much for hand lotion, I guess.
I was like, we were in the same mall like so often.
That's so funny.
So you went to school for psychology.
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
So I went to Ambrose here in Calgary. I got my BA in behavioral sciences.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got the BA in BS, right? That's
I like that.
But I loved my time there, and my whole goal originally was to become a psychologist. That's what I originally wanted to do. It's not until the fourth year of university that they tell you what the average burnout rate is for a psychologist.
What is it?
Which is what?
It's like 6 years.
Shut up.
Is all it is. Yeah.
6 years.
6 years before most. I mean, this is an average, obviously, right?
Yeah.
There's people that have their careers for a very long time, but 6 years is what the average is.
Okay. Yeah. So you heard the burnout rate and you were like, that's not for me.
Yeah, well, it was it was one of those things where I realized once I was hired at Apple while I was going to university, and I kind of realized I got all the fulfillment I wanted from just like selling computers to people that I would have got from doing psychology, which is kind of one of those silly things. Like, as a psychologist, you don't always get to see the impact you have on the people you're working with, right? A lot of times people come in with, problems, and you're there to listen to them and understand them and kind of, I don't want to say take on their baggage, but like understand the baggage that they have. But a lot of times people get that help and then they move on, and you don't actually see the impact that you've made in somebody's life necessarily, right? And that can really cause people to just feel like the work they're doing is, it's challenging, basically. Like you don't get to see the impact and success you actually are having on people's lives, even though you are probably having a great impact on people's lives. At Apple, people coming in like, I really need a great computer for work. I'm like, I got that for you. Let's make it happen. And funny enough, the problems were small, but I could give them a solution that they needed, that they loved, and I just got so much joy and satisfaction out of it. And
gratifying.
It was so gratifying. Yeah, I loved it. And I mean, just that chance to connect with tons of different people and engage with them. I loved the work of doing that. And then. After I graduated, they're like, hey, do you want to take on this higher level position at Apple? And I kind of went, oh yeah, heck yeah, that sounds amazing. I love my Apple tech, and being able to grow my career within that store was just a fantastic.
Well, they have a great culture, do they not?
The
For everything I've ever heard from anyone that works there, or you go in there and they're just like, Apple for life, like they're just like committed.
Oh yeah,
company culture is so important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's huge. I mean, with Apple, when you would get hired, it's a 2.5 week training process before you're even talking to people, right? Like they go, we're spending this much time to make sure that you have that cultural fit, right? And for me, I grew into management for Apple, and there's multiple times I was flown down to Cupertino or different that's Apple's headquarters, different places where we just had this chance to connect and really be engrossed into that company culture, and that was a really cool thing. And then even in the store itself, being able to connect and engage and understand and listen and have this, Apple is so about just mutual respect. And I've really found that for me now starting my own business, there's been so many things I've taken from Apple in trying to incorporate those things into creating a new business. And that culture piece, I think, is one of the most important things that I think I took from Apple. Oh, whoops, sorry.
No, you're good.
Well, I mean, when you create, I think people, the culture of a workspace is so underrated for so many businesses.
Oh, yeah.
And we've really been talking about that. I don't know who we heard that from. Maybe it was even our mentor or whoever was like, you have to love, really care for your people, because then they'll stay.
Oh, yeah.
They'll stay if it's even wage. People will be like, it's worth it for me to stay because of how I'm treated, the benefits I have. It's not a problem when I want time off. But when you get into a culture and maybe then you're willing to take maybe less money than you would somewhere else because you're and I'm not saying that's what Apple or, but I'm
I would as well.
But do you know what I'm saying? In general, I think there are people who are it's so I love working here.
Yeah.
So I don't care about that. I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, very much so. I think especially in something creating a small business, that's important. I mean, you're right, CJ. Apple pays very, very well. The hardest thing about leaving Apple for me was the golden handcuffs that I was kind of, attached to, right? There's something about going from, a guaranteed like really good salary with amazing benefits and that stuff to being like, okay, I'm gonna jump out in this and try and create something on my own. That was a very scary thing to do, but in the end, when it comes down to actually finding staff for me, I don't have the money that Apple does to to necessarily pay the best salaries ever. But like when I'm working with staff, what I want to do is be just so intentional with them, know that I care about them and that I'm invested in them. And I really have found that, I even have ex-employees now who I'm like, pretty much every ex-employee, I'm still very connected with in their lives. And I think that's, hopefully because I created a work culture, and I have a work culture, at Devon Lang that, people are, they can love the work they're doing and feel the passion, and hopefully, they see that I have and bring that on to the work that they do, too.
Well, and I think we need to circle back to you launching into your own business because you just literally lightly touched on it, but you with a family, would have made the leap from the golden handcuffs to starting out on your own. Yeah. So talk to us about where the idea for Devon and Lang came from, how that seed started and that journey progressed.
Yeah. Sure. I'd love to. So the idea for Devon and Lang, I'd always had I guess I'll start with this was, I've always had a desire to try and start my own business. That's always been something that I wanted to do. I tried once before and I failed miserably. Back when I was like 25 or 26, I tried to make this company called Comb Consolidated, where we'd help like small business. I love the comb. Isn't that great? I know.
What was it?
Oh, we tried to make employee handbooks for small businesses, where basically like a small business could come, if they don't have any like rules or regulations, they could, we would help them kind of like create those, and it'd be like a little app on your phone. You could just send it out to staff, and then you could be updated easily. And anyway, we thought it was a really good idea, and I think it was a really good idea. But it ended up not taking off because other bigger businesses were just, they just ate us up basically. Yeah. So that idea kind of started and faded within about, it was about 8 or 9 months of work to do that. But, even with that, I still had this like desire to try and create something. And so, back in 2018, I was in Hawaii with my wife and her family, and we had my first daughter was, I think, 6 months old, so it was like her first vacation. It was really fun. But anyhow, the grandparents had the baby. Dana and I went for dinner at this like beautiful restaurant. Went for this like romantic walk down the beach at sunset, and like midway through the walk, I just ripped a huge hole in my boxers. I was wearing like premium, like expensive underwear, and this was not the first time that I'd ripped holes in the thighs. And I was going like, oh my gosh, all this romance is ruined, right? Because I'm all chafing and uncomfortable. And
nothing like a chafe to ruin it.
It's just
literally.
And there,
it's just like we cut the walk short, right? Like it was, it wasn't that much fun. And after doing that, I was kind of was going, why am I spending all this money on these premium underwear that's not lasting as long as I want it to? And I wonder if there's something better that's out there. And at the time, I was reading this book called The Millionaire Fastlane.
I haven't heard this one.
I don't know. It's JD something. I forget.
We're all buying that after this episode.
Yeah, I was like,
we will link that.
Link it. It is a good book. I'll tell you the biggest takeaway that I got from this book was the author was talking about this. What's it called when you have like one word that spells out multiple words, like a letter?
Acronym?
An acronym. That's right. I want to say an anagram, but yeah, no, it's not an anagram.
That's where my mind went.
It's an acronym. That's right. And so this acronym is NEXT, NEXT.
Okay.
And so basically, what he talks about is like when you're wanting to create a new thing, here's the things that you want to be thinking about. And some of these things sound really obvious, but I think it's still worth going through. First one is there a need for it, right? So like, are you seeing that there's a problem? And if there is a problem, do you see that there's a need, which I think is the most obvious one. And so for me, I went, okay, I got boxers that are ripping more quickly, or they're not as comfortable as I want them to be. sure, there's a need that's here. The next one that I think was one of the more interesting ones was entry. And so the question that he asks is, how easy is it to get into this industry? And the easier it is to get in, the less likely you should do it. Is basically.
I like
I
that.
just thought the opposite.
Says. Yeah.
Off the top of my head without thinking about it.
Here's the example that they give, and I hate to say podcasting is one of them, but anybody.
Yep.
It's so easy nowadays, or you can talk about Twitch streaming or whatever that's going to be, right? Like, what is the cost of entry to get into something, right? Twitch streaming or podcasting or whatever, you just need a couple microphones now, and then anyone can become a podcaster,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Or you go into MLM companies and you can be your own boss or whatever. But then, literally anybody can do that. You just, spend whatever little bit upfront you have to do. It's not to say that you can't be successful, but the only way to be successful is to be exceptional. Is basically what they said.
Which is exactly what we
it's
are.
her podcast.
Yes.
Exactly. So you guys already have it. Don't worry. And I felt the same way ultimately because underwear actually isn't that hard of an industry to get into, right?
Okay.
It takes a bit more capital than starting a podcast, but
Yes.
it's not like it's that difficult to get into something like underwear in comparison to other things. But the harder the cost of entry, the less competition you have, basically, is what he was saying. And for us, it still was a lower cost of entry for us, but I had this idea that I thought was exceptional in the sense of like we had our own, we started making our own different pouch design for our men's boxers. We've got this like durable inner thigh panel for our men's boxers that you guys have only seen our ladies' underwear so far, but our
we're going to have to get some for our partners and husbands.
Yeah, I'll hook you guys up. I'll get some good ones for you.
We need matching ones.
Oh, we can go matchy. Yeah.
Oh, my husband would not love it, but I would. like we're wearing matching.
That's the way it always goes.
Andrew would love that.
I'd make us wear them and then like show people. I'd be like, let's show everyone our matching. He'd be like, stop it, Eric.
It's like, I have a real idea.
That's so funny. We should talk about that in a minute too, just growth of the brand. But
Yes,
I'll finish my little spiel here for you. So anyhow, we thought we had something that was somewhat exceptional. So even though we didn't quite hit that entry barrier of like being extremely, hard to get into, we still felt we had enough of an exceptional piece that it was going to be okay. But the next two are just more based on like you as an individual as you grow a business, and the X is actually it's a fake one. It's for expansion, which is can you scale this, right? And so one thing that they talk about is, let's say you're a woodworker, right? And you make these like exceptional, chairs or something like that. And they're made by hand by you, right? There's a certain output that you cap yourself at. There's a ceiling to that, right? And so, when you're looking to start a business, you want to try and find one that hopefully has the ability to, expand and grow. And if it's not, that's okay, but just know that there's going to be a cap of where your business is going to stop at. And then the final one is time bound. So just how much time and effort does it take you to invest into that business? And then can you get it to a place where you're less time bound by the work that you're doing?
Okay, friends. I have been leaning into a very limited makeup routine lately, but sometimes I want to add a little oomph without adding a lot of time, and I found my solution. I recently got a lamb lashes starter kit, and you guys, these lashes are so gorgeous. But the best part for me is that they are so easy to apply. I have zero experience with lashes, and these were simple to apply, and they look stunning. Lamb Lashes is a Canadian luxury lash brand who provides beautiful and affordable vegan and cruelty-free lash products, and they offer a wide range of styles from elegantly natural to stunningly dramatic, depending on your mood, style, or event. Applying Lamb Lashes is a breeze. I use the Miracle Liner Lash Adhesive, which is non-toxic, gentle, and super easy to apply. It's just like a liquid liner. Trimmed my lashes to fit, applied and secured them with the squeezers that came in my lash kit, and boom, instant glam. We have an exclusive discount code for our Her community. Use the code HERPODCAST15 to save when you order your Lamb Lashes. Like I mentioned, Lamb Lashes offers a variety of styles, and each style is named after a city that the owner, Lindsay, has visited as a nod to her passion for traveling. Like, how fun is that? You can shop each style online or purchase a starter kit, which comes with 2 styles of your choice. I personally chose the Seattle style and the Regina style, a miracle liner, and a pair of squeezers for easy application. Follow Lamb Lashes on Instagram and TikTok at lamb_lashes and shop all of the stunning lash styles and accessories online at lamblashes.com. And remember, use the code HERPODCAST15 to save.
Obviously, being a new-ish business owner of only 3 years, all of my time is in my yes. business. But the hope is that as time goes on, this will be one that I can rely on others and get and get it can grow itself, right?
Yeah.
In ways that don't need me to be there all the time. And anyhow, after reading this book, after thinking about this. This idea for underwear, I kind of realized this might be that kind of business that I could, that more or less checks the boxes that I'm looking for a business. I wonder if I could make this a reality.
Well, and we've talked about this a lot with other people, and we've heard it on like a podcast and I love that you've said this, that whole like time or like, what'd you say, expansion, right? Like, I think there's a lot of people who think they have built businesses, but they've really created jobs for themselves.
Oh, so much so.
Right. And I think that's like the biggest thing, even in our business, is always being like we can't be the center cog to this wheel, because if we walk away, it falls apart. It won't work. And so I think so many people go into business being I think anything where you're almost making something, like I'm like, unless you're training someone else how to do your craft.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like woodworking or like making, like we see it with like really intentional, like, well, I think of like mugs and like
but as
pottery.
You're speaking, I'm like, I've totally made myself the cog.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Which you guys have told me multiple times.
Which I'm like, we could train someone to do that. And she's like, no. I'm like, okay.
If you get joy out of it though, then it, then
well, like there's certain things that I want to do, but I also hoard things.
And let's preface by saying that isn't bad.
Yeah.
If you are if you're like, I'm happy with this cap on my business. I'm happy making 30 custom wooden chairs a year, and that brings me joy and funds my life, and I can go do the things. That's amazing.
Do it.
But there's certain people who are like, I want to build a business and slowly exit out of it while having it run without me there. And that's okay to be different.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe the difference between a job and a business is one where you can step away from it, right? And then go back. If I can make money while I'm still on vacation, I feel like I'm running a business, right?
Yes.
If I'm unable to, continue to make money, if I'm not there, then my business is a job, right? And so not to say that's a bad thing, but it's just like that's the way that you can. I kind of think about the way that we can differentiate that.
Yeah.
Well, and I think more people should almost like hear that, because I'm sure there's a lot of entrepreneurs who go out there and are like, I want to build a business, and all of a sudden they're like, I don't know what's happened, but I can't leave.
Yes.
And so to even hear this kind of like not messaging, but talking that's like, hey, like now that you've built yourself a job, how do you go through the process of turning it into a business?
Yeah.
So training,
absolutely.
Bringing in the right people if that's your desire.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep going.
The hardest thing I think most people encounter with that is letting go, right?
Oh, 100%.
When you do start a business, and even, for me, everything was done by me. Right.
Yeah.
I've got staff now who are helping me do these things, but like even being convinced to like hire somebody was
it's your baby.
They're going to mess it up. Right. Like, you're not doing it exactly the way that I need you to do it, and being able to let go and allow other people to kind of take over for those things. It's such a hard thing to do as a small business owner. But
how did you overcome that hurdle?
How did I overcome it? For me, it was by, just by necessity, right? Like I guess I'll tell you guys. So when we, oh man, I got so many interesting stories for you guys.
Hit us.
So, I can talk about, we'll skip ahead a little bit here.
Great.
Because, we had launched the business in August of 2019. Nothing like launching something 6 months before.
It's like, who knew?
Pandemic that happened. Every single goal that I had set forward absolutely got flipped on its head. So one of the big benefits of working at Apple was that I got 6 weeks full paid paternity leave, and I then extended that to 6 months. My second daughter, Devon, was born in my wife's going to kill me if I don't remember this exact day. It was January 19th, 2020.
And were you still, so I just want to get the details.
Yeah.
You were still working at Apple. You weren't just like, bye Apple, I'm doing this.
No. This is
smart.
Transition.
This is a,
yes.
I
smart.
thought, okay, my daughter is coming into this world. I'd love to spend time with my family, but also this is 6 months. I could be focusing on, this other business that I'm ultimately wanting to try to grow. And, anyhow, she was born, life was good for about a month and a half. And then, everything kind of hit the wall. I was terrified. So this 6 months paternity leave, I was like, oh geez, like everything is completely being flipped up on its head. I don't know, I was planning to go to all these different retail stores and try and sell our stuff in stores all across the world.
So you already had a product?
We already had a product.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can go back a minute. We'll go back in a minute and we can talk about the actual beginning of the product, because I think it's interesting too to talk about. But we already had a product. We launched our first 1,000 pairs of men's boxers, and we started getting those trying to get into stores. And anyhow, everything shut down. The whole world flipped on its head, of course. And I was terrified. So I actually went back to work early at Apple because I went, well, every plan I had was already been kind of ruined. So I'm just going to go back early. That was a very big mistake because it was in early April. I was watching TV and I was watching some dude show how to turn a T-shirt into a face mask.
Yeah.
And I was seeing that and I was like, wait a minute. Face masks are probably something that we all are going to need pretty quickly. I wonder if I could connect with my manufacturer and see if we can start making some face masks for people, because we've got need for it. And so I reached out with them and I said, okay, I want to try and make some masks with the filters in them, and I want them to be actually soft, and I want them to come in different sizes so they actually will fit your face properly. Can we just make 200 and just see what happens? And so they said, okay. So I put up a pre-order on the site. I said, okay, we got 200 face masks. If you're interested, here they are. You can take a look. Within 7 days, those 200 masks were completely sold out.
Gonzo.
And I'm like, okay, there's some interest here. So I'm like, okay, we'll make another 500. And so I put the 500 up on Facebook. And then within 3 days, the 500 were completely sold out. No one's even received these things yet, but they already were, were already pulled. And so at that point, I was like, oh, geez, okay, well, let's start producing a ton of these. So we probably produced 100,000 plus face masks and just started over that pandemic.
And they were all cool patterns and
no,
what
they
did
were
you do?
black face masks.
Okay.
But they're made from modal, so the same sort of fabric our underwear is made out of.
Yeah,
breathable, but they have the
nice.
filter in there too. So they did a good job, filtering the air.
Can I ask the price point?
Yeah, $15 a mask.
Oh yeah, that's decent.
100,000.
Yeah, there was. They were very popular, and so I'm trying to now manage doing these face masks, but I've just committed to Apple that I was going back to work, and I realized, oh my goodness, I can't keep up with this. So anyhow, I ended up having to hire some people to help me just fulfill orders. But then as that time kind of went on, I realized I need them to actually do more than just pack stuff. I need them to actually be the ones answering emails and figuring out shipping and doing all these things. And so, I hired my first hire was a guy named Nate DeJesus, who I originally hired to do social media management for me. And then it just kind of evolved to him becoming my order fulfillment guy. And then he couldn't keep up with the orders. So then I had to hire another person named Sandy, who worked with my mother-in-law, and she was looking for some extra work. I'm like, okay, literally, it was like a one day. My mother-in-law was like, Sandy could be great, and I talked to her on the phone. I'm like, great, you're hired. Like, we'll see you tomorrow.
got it.
Come on over, Sandy.
Come on by. Come on to my mother-in-law's basement. We'll pack orders together.
Okay, so then my question was like, where was all of this happening? It was in the basement.
In the basement.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was in my in-laws' basement.
Great.
Is where we stored and packed everything originally.
Okay.
It got to a point where very quickly my mother-in-law and father-in-law were not fans of us having our operation in the basement of their house because we were just in and out all the time.
Yeah.
And my father-in-law was like, dude, after 6 o'clock, like people cannot come in here anymore. Like this is not okay. And so we realized, okay, we got to find a new space. So we moved into another basement suite that we just like rented.
Okay.
And worked out of a basement suite in Ranchlands here in the city. And Nathan and Sandy, I think, it was a fun place to work out of, but like literally this little house became just shelving units, just full of shelving units everywhere. And anytime we'd receive inventory, we'd have to walk it down 2 flights of stairs to receive and unbox it and then
Big
walk them up the
boxes.
stairs. And it was just like, it was quite the process. But anyhow, we're doing all this while I'm working full time at Apple. And I probably did that for 9 months, I think, before.
And also, like, let's remember you have a newborn at home.
Yes.
And another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a 2-year-old and a 0-year-old.
And are their names Devon and Lang?
So Devon is my youngest, Devon A. May McCombs, and then my oldest is Cambria Lang McCombs, and Lang is also my grandfather's last name,
cool.
or my grandparents' last name. So the idea behind the
love
name was we wanted to look at apparel from a generational standpoint. We made it great in the past, which was quality and durability. How we can move that into the next generation of where we want to see our garments, move to through newest technologies and sustainable fabrics and all those sorts of things. So, we named the business after people way cooler than me. That's for sure.
I love it. It's a good name.
That's
thanks.
awesome.
Yeah. Originally, we were under a different name. Actually, we were called Oak Apparel, OKE. Which literally just meant guys or men in like Afrikaans or something.
Okay.
And I just thought it was a really cool name, but I couldn't get the trademark in the U.S. Because some other company called Okeanos Swimwear had it, and the trademark office was like, women's bikinis and men's boxers are far too close to be a thing. I disagreed, but it all worked out really well because we started doing the women's stuff in the future anyhow. So, so we changed our name during the pandemic to Devon and Lang. And that was a scary thing too, going under one name and then switching to something new. And of course, everyone you talk to, they all hate it. Everyone hates whatever new name is that's out.
Oh, I get it.
Never ask anybody's opinion.
No. Everyone
Same
I
with
talk
your
to-
babies
Yes.
and your businesses.
That's
You
right.
don't tell people the names until
just
they are
find a
there.
name and just commit to it, and it'll be fine. But like naming stuff is the most painful.
It's hard.
Yeah, the most painful thing to deal with for me. But we were doing the face masks, and then finally in October of 2020, we'd seen enough like success with the masks that we thought, okay, let's try and make this a real thing. And so I ended up leaving Apple October 2020, and this has been my full-time career for the last 2.5 years now. So it's been really cool to see it grow. A lot of challenges that have come with that, though. Obviously, we were an underwear company that then made face masks for a while, and we knew that masks were not going to be around forever, right?
But what a great intro for people to almost like see your fabric and then be like, okay, if this felt good on my face.
Yeah.
If it's good
Wear it
on
my
these
butt.
cheeks, check out these ones, right?
cheeks.
Yeah, exactly. So we really tried to use that as a jumping off point for us.
So good. I love it.
Right? So that was really cool to be able to do that, which I think it's one of those interesting things though, because this is where there's like some what's the right word? I don't want to say self-doubt, but like there's a lot of things where you kind of go, how much of this was just like right timing versus being able to I think so many people have great ideas and they have a business that could take off, but the timing just didn't work out for some reason, right? I don't want to say luck is the right word, but maybe luck is the right word, where there is a timing or luck aspect that comes
Well, there's a bit of magic that has to happen.
There really is, right?
You know?
Like we found success, but like that's been, partly through the hard work that we've put into this business. And there's been a lot of, sweat and tears that have gone into this. But also, we were the pandemic ended up being a huge, boon for us. Like we saw so much growth because of that, and our name became so much more well known. And then people went, okay, let's start trying out these other products. And then the products do speak for themselves, fortunately, where people do, once they try them, they do fall in love with them. And so we were able to kind of use that as a really great jumping off point for us to continue growing and expanding our brand.
I'm so curious with this because we were just talking about this with some other brands. And I'm like, product-based businesses are like amazing and wonderful, but I cannot even, and I love fashion, I love clothing. Yeah. Including Gitchies. But I'm like, how the heck do you figure out fit? Because like that boggles my mind because I'm like, everybody is different. We're all so different.
Yeah.
A large here, a medium there. Well, I'm a medium in this brand, but a large here. And so obviously I have a pair actually of the Devon Lang undies, and they are extremely comfortable. I wanted to make sure I said that on here. I messaged these two when I think I was wearing them.
Literally.
I was like, they are so comfy.
Yes.
Like they're amazing.
Yeah.
And good underwear is just good for life. Like it really makes a difference.
Yeah.
And so, but my question is fit. Like, how did you figure that out? How did you approach that? Because I just think that's like a really big challenge in the clothing industry when you want to go into it.
Oh yeah. The answer to that is I work with people that are much more talented than I am when it comes down to figuring that stuff out. I mean, obviously, with my time at Apple, the ideas that I had for like, our men's underwear, the whole idea was to make a very technical pair of underwear, right? Originally, we said we want to, build better boxers through innovation and iteration. I was all about the alliteration at that time.
And then alliteration.
But that idea was just like making a very technical, garment. And so I had these like basic ideas for how to like what I wanted it to look like. But in the end, I worked with some just fantastic, fashion designers to help us actually turn this into reality. So I'll give a shout out to Martina Corello. She's here in Calgary. She's got a company called Color Alchemist where she just designs garments for people, full time.
If I need to go meet this person.
I was like, cool.
We need her.
I'm like, excuse me.
Yeah. Martina will actually be phenomenal for you guys' podcast.
We should get her for Thursday morning. Get her on here.
She's amazing. She's originally from Montreal. I met her through Olds College. She was teaching there, and I chatted with her about this idea and that I had. And anyhow, the fit. I mean, it was basically a 9-month process of turning this idea into something real. And so it started off by us like finding different underwears that we liked, and then cutting them up and like re-sewing and rejigging them, and then getting our own fabrics, and then trying to like sew them the way we want them to. And I still remember there'd be nights where Martina would come over to our house, or we were living in a basement suite at the time, and she would come over, and I would just be throwing underwear samples on that she's been making, and she's like under my thighs, like
tweaking, and you're like moving, and
became very good friends.
It got very intimate very quickly.
I love it.
My wife was like, "What is going on here?" Yeah, it was so funny.
She's like, Martina's here again.
And so that's like just going in and getting pins in and just making more and more adjustments.
Pins.
Yeah, seriously, things.
You really got to trust someone.
There was a lot of trust that went into doing this. So anyhow, we were making tweaks and adjustments. We get these they're called tech packs in the industry that were made that have basically all the shapes and cuts of what needs to be sewn together, and then they gotta depending on what kind of stitcher you use, you gotta create your additional or less fabric. Like it's a whole it's legitimate magic what they do. So anyway, we made those, and then during that process, we're then trying to find manufacturers. So we do our manufacturing overseas, and so we were working with at the time we probably had like 9 or 10 different manufacturers that we were sending these samples to, trying to find one that could do what we wanted to do. That process just takes forever too, right? Because obviously, especially with overseas.
Well, I can't imagine. It's like you submit it, like first you have to design it, right? And then you have to submit it, and then you have to wait for it to come back, right? Exactly. And then you like read.
Well, and then just more tweaks and more.
And there were like ships and like that, just
I remember
stuff.
that.
Like there was just stuff that was just people. I remember talking to people in the industry, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know my product is sitting on a boat, like in the harbor, and we are literally just it's there, and we're just waiting." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh,
I forgot about that."
It was wild. Now we were fortunate. This was happening pre-pandemic, so it wasn't quite as bad.
Right.
But everything was still shipped by air. But even that it was still about a 3 or 4 week process, right?
Yeah.
Like we'd send them the designs. They would make it, which would take some time, and they charge for that. They definitely, they charge to make samples.
You have to pay for samples.
And then, so they were paying like probably $200-300 per sample to get made, right? And then brought back to us. And then we'd look at it and look at our adjustments and tweaks we need to make. And then we'd make those tweaks and then send it off again. And then
another $200.
Yeah. And then while we're doing that, we're then weeding out which manufacturers are not listening to the directions or instructions that we're giving, or not doing not giving us the fabrics we need, or whatever that's going to be. Finally we're able to whittle it down to a manufacturer who went, holy cow, these guys are making stuff for us to the quality they want. They're easy to work with. They're following our directions. Like we can work with these guys.
If you are on the market to buy or sell a home, or maybe both, and want to make the process as stress-free and smooth as possible, then I have the realtor for you. Lacey Cazette is an award-winning Saskatoon realtor who prides herself in being your one-stop shop for both buying and selling. And her passion for her work just shines through when you meet her. Lacey has over 12 years experience in the real estate industry, a 98% list to sale ratio, and she prioritizes an extensive and personalized marketing strategy for each of her clients. Because we all know that the best strategy is more important than ever now. Along with her husband and partner, Kyle Berneski, Lacey is licensed in residential, commercial, and farm. So she literally has you covered no matter what real estate area you need. And because she's built such solid connections in the industry, she can dial up the best lawyers, mortgage brokers, appraisers, and contractors for you too. Lacey has also given us an exclusive discount code for her community. You can use the code LACY5 to save $500 off one real estate transaction. You guys, that's huge. So if you want a driven, hardworking, and connected agent who'll go above and beyond for you, this is a no-brainer, guys. Get in touch with Lacey. You'll find her at Realty Executive Saskatoon or on socials at Lacey Cazette. That's at LACEYCOSSETTE, and online at lacycazette.com. And remember to mention the code LACY5 to save $500 on one real estate transaction. We're linking all her info in the show notes for you.
We do our manufacturing in China right now, which is kind of a hot topic for some people, but it truly is like the best garments come from there right now. Also some of the worst, but honestly, like quality, manufacturers, we outsourced in Canada and North America all of our manufacturing 30 years ago to overseas places like China, and they have a 30-year advantage on us basically. I've looked into doing made in Canada garments or like underwear. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's so expensive. And this is what I could go off on this a little bit, but I love that people want to support made in Canada.
Yeah.
And they don't have any idea how much it costs to get
insane.
Things made in Canada.
Well, there's a few things we could talk about with that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, firstly, just price, right?
Yeah.
It was literally 6 times more expensive to have it made here. Maybe 5 or 6. I mean, significantly more expensive to have it made here. Which means that like if I wanted just to make the same profit margin on my on my underwear, I have to sell them for like $65 a pair, right?
Yeah.
And so people come to me and say like, why don't you do made in Canada? I'm like, hey, if you want to pay $65 for a pair of underwear, like, and you and all your friends also want to pay that much, just let me know. I 100% will go ahead and make that. But people pretty quickly go like, oh, that's probably outside of what I want to do.
Yeah.
Even companies like Stanfield, which are like, they like as underwear companies, like we are a Canadian business. All of their underwear is manufactured overseas now.
Yeah.
All of it. Because it's just, people have a price point in their mind of what they're willing to pay for something like underwear. And once you go beyond that, it's no longer really an option for them.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I started learning Chinese to try and talk to my manufacturers.
Yeah, you
there.
did.
Oh my gosh. What does that mean?
I speak a little bit of Chinese,
Do it again.
but I'm not.
That was so good.
But yeah, so
I lived in China for a year, and I cannot speak like that. But I always, when people ask me if I learned Mandarin, I was like, I learned survival Chinese.
That's all you need.
Enough to be like, please take me here.
Yeah.
How do I ask for this? I knew enough that I could communicate, but that was very impressive. I love that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they basically just laughed at me. But but they went like, we appreciate you putting the effort in at the very least, right? So I talked with my different manufacturers and.
Have you been to China, like to go and see anything?
I was going to back in 2020, but something got in the way of that.
Oh yeah, dang.
But next year we got a trip planned.
Where are you going? Where is it?
We're going to Fuzhou, China, which is just a bit above Taiwan.
Cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, we're really
The
excited.
food.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Oh,
The food.
man.
I thought that was going to be my biggest hiccup.
Yeah.
I was very nervous.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't eat Chinese food here.
Oh, it's
like
not
I
Chinese
can't.
food.
I can't. And my husband always laughed at me because we were dating when I was in China, and I'd be like, I'm going out for Chinese food, and he's like, isn't it just food there? And I was like, shut up. Yes, I'm going out for dinner. Anyway, sidetrack. But
That's so funny.
So you found a manufacturer that was like working for
Yeah.
you. Do you remember the first time you put on a pair and you were like, by gosh, we've done it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they speak to everything being, I'm sure you heard this term. There's a book called The Lean Startup, which, you guys ever heard of this book? It's a really great book for new entrepreneurs. But one of the things that they speak about in this book is that you want your product to be your MVP. But that's doesn't stand for what you may think it does. It means minimum viable product, right? So you want your product to be like what is the most basic version of this product that you can make to get it out into the world? Because if you wait until your product is perfect, you're going to be working on it forever. And by that time, your opportunity may have passed you anyhow, and someone else will have already done this thing that you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So we made a pair of underwear that I thought was good enough that I'd feel comfortable selling it. And then, I thought it was great, but we still wanted it to be good and then put it out in the world and then see what feedback we get from that. So I still remember though, the day that I picked up our first 1,000 pairs of underwear, because minimum order quantities are just wild. Right? When you got to start a small business, it's you got to get to at least 1,000 units before, and I think that's even pretty small in comparison to other industries. Yep. I picked up our first 1,000 units of underwear. I got it all loaded up into our van. And I was driving it home. I just I started crying, and I was like, "Oh my goodness! We've done it! I finally have made this thing." And then maybe 20 seconds later, I realized wait, I just got to the starting line. All of this work, I have to sell this stuff now, right? All of this work is now just me being here to actually begin, pushing forward, right? And that's kind of what every milestone has felt like to me so far is I finally did it. We've got into 100 stores now, or whatever that's going to be. And it's we're still so far away from where that true peak is that we're wanting to aim for. And so, I'm finding I need to take the time to still celebrate those wins, even though, everyone is we're just moving to a new starting line, basically. Right?
We talk about that all the time about advising to sit in the win for even just a minute, because too often all of us sitting here, we are so quick. I mean, I remember when we hit 10,000 downloads, we were like, yay, on to 20. It was literally probably in the same message. We were next is 20, then, every single, and so sometimes it's so important to be okay, I did it, but still be there's more goals to reach, but it's important to celebrate the wins. Absolutely.
Do you have a way that you celebrate?
That I celebrate my wins? No, I don't.
Yep.
I should have more of a way that
I was going to say he dances in his kitchen in his Devon Lang kitchen.
Oh my gosh, there's real content.
There's real content there.
That's right.
Just saying.
Okay.
Well,
Get cheese for all your wins.
I'm so curious on how the women, the
Female?
yeah, like how you decided to be like, okay, now we need to make women's underwear.
Yeah.
Because that to me is, I mean, what you're doing is so cute. And
It's fun, right?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so fun. It's like
No one does matching. Like
that's
I love
so
that.
cute. I love a matching
Very few.
moment.
Yeah.
And even I'm like, it's like the most easy gift idea. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just like,
100%.
it's from all the marketing standpoint. I'm like, it's so smart. So I'm just curious on when, like, was it your wife was like, I want some of these?
Well, kind of. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of a twofold thing where as we were selling our products, we mainly were selling online at the time with the pandemic, and we could see, lots of data for who was buying and what they were buying. And we found that probably 65 to 70% of our customers were women buying underwear for their husbands or boyfriends.
That
or
was one of my
adult children.
questions.
Of course.
Were they also
it
buying them
was.
for themselves?
Some of them were.
Because
yeah.
I would attest to sleeping in guys'
Yeah.
underwear is like
Well,
very comfortable.
it's
My
nice,
sister
right?
has slept in boxers forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Men's underwear.
So alongside that, my wife kept stealing my boxers to sleep in at night all
Yeah.
the time. And she would go, Tyler, like, these are great, but like, I don't need this pouch. that's
there's
here."
It's my
In the way.
snack
Yeah.
pouch. It's my snack pouch.
I just want to throw an apple in there or something like that, right? You
I can say something, but it's not appropriate, so I won't.
She's like, this extra fabric.
yeah. So she was like, there's got to be something better. And so we kind of realized, okay, well, you know what? Let's test it out and see. Let's make some, women's boxers or boy shorts or a few different styles, and we'll put it out there just as an add-on. We won't make a ton, but we'll just put it out as an add-on, and just like, if they're already buying anyhow for their husbands or boyfriends, maybe they'll get something for themselves. We weren't even doing matching stuff at the time. We just thought, okay, we'll just make some black and like a purple color or something, and we'll put it out there, and. The people loved it. Like people tried, like the ladies tried on, like, oh, finally, like I've been looking for a woman's boxer or boy short or whatever. Like, this is amazing. To the point where now we're outselling our men's boxers. Like I'm selling more women's stuff than I am men's.
That's not
underwear.
surprising to me.
Because I think women are like maybe a little bit more concerned about what's up in their business.
Oh, big time.
Right? Like
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
like, I want it to be comfortable.
Oh,
It
so
needs to be breathable.
Especially our age demographic, which
Yeah.
is like, no, I just want it to be
care.
comfortable. I want it to be functional, cute as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
kind of like check all those boxes, which is what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think there's so much women's underwear out there that is designed to just look good, but it doesn't actually feel very good to wear. And we really wanted to try and change that. And we thought about, like, what is our goal for our women's underwear? Like, we had a purpose for our men's underwear. What is that purpose for our women's underwear to be? And the goal was to make it the most comfortable women's underwear you can wear, right? We have our thicker bands, which aren't normal in a lot of women's underwear, right? But like, once you try out the underwear with the thicker band, you put it on. It's with high-waisted designs, like made from modal. Our waistbands are like insane how soft they are. It's like, holy cow, this is some really comfortable stuff. And for everyday work or lounging or whatever, like that's my go-to now style, right? My wife, I mean, obviously she wears all of our underwear, but like she lives in our boy shorts and boxers and stuff because they're just such a comfortable underwear to wear. And then we started doing like skin tone underwear for the ladies for like wearing underdresses and skirts. There's no lines on your bums. There's no underwear lines and stuff. And like we just tried to be very intentional with our designs, and people have really been liking that. And then literally as soon as we launched our matching his and hers prints, it's just exploded. It exploded. It's the Calgary Stampede right now, and we brought out 2 different cowboy themed underwears for the Stampedes. So I got this like
smart.
little snakes and boots one that's like just like this really cool design, and the other print a local artist designed for us. Her name's Gabrielle Bagel, and it's this cowboy ducks. It's just these little ducks with like cowboy boots on and like a cowboy hat on. It's like this super cute pattern. Couples are going wild for it. Like they just think it's so cool. and going matchy is just a lot of fun, right? And people have been really enjoying that.
I'm curious. So you said are you in 100 stores?
Yeah, about 100 now.
Okay, amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Across Canada and US?
Mainly in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there someone, so Devon and Lang sent me underwear. They like sent a message. They were so amazing. They're like, can we just like get you in a pair of underwear? And I was like, amazing. P.S. I love when brands do this because get like a authentic review. Look how this turned out. I was like, we need to have them on the podcast. I've tried the product. It's amazing, right? So anyone
you never
who wants
know
to
where
collab,
your PR.
No, you never know where your PR will come from. So my question is though, who do you know? Like who's the coolest person who's worn your underwear?
The coolest person.
Other than present company
Erica.
included.
You already took it from me. I was going to say it was Erica there. Oh man, we haven't done any like major gifting to like. I mean, Erica's super famous, but I mean, like, like to like the major celebrities and stuff like that. I think that's something we're going to have to do. Who do you think I should be gifting it to?
Well, Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber.
Yes.
Justin and Hailey Bieber.
I think they would wear it matching.
That's what I should go for.
Focus on the couples.
I would do couples
Canadian.
for sure. Astrid and Kevin.
Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, we might have a hookup for you.
Do you have a hookup for me?
We might.
Don't you know Justin Bieber?
I don't know him personally.
Yeah, let me just call him up. No big deal.
I'll see if he wants.
We'll do
No,
a call
we have
later.
a
If you guys know
family
a celebrity,
connection.
if you know a celebrity that you want to get some underwear to,
Or
that you got
like,
connections to, let me know.
Harris.
We'll make
Jillian
it happen.
Harris.
Okay.
Jillian Harris.
or,
Birds Papaya.
Alicia McCarville and her husband.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
We've got some people
You got
for
some
you.
people.
Just sitting here.
Yeah, they'd be great.
That sounds fantastic.
We're gonna send you a list of names.
Okay,
Yeah.
give me a
Like, here.
list. I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna talk
We'll
to some
send-
famous
yeah,
people.
we're like-
and get them in my underwear.
And
That's
we'll send you our percentage contract. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, obviously. Yeah,
Our
that's what you're gonna
finder's
do.
fee?
Yeah,
Our finder's
that's
fee
right.
per famous
Guys, if
couple.
you get Justin Bieber to wear some underwear for me, then 100% you get a finder's fee.
All right,
gosh.
let's see what we can do.
Right?
I think they would. That'd be unreal.
I think they.
Anyway.
Yeah. It's just getting it to them.
Yeah,
You just gotta get it to them.
That's the process:
Yes.
is getting the right person to get you to.
But what is
the
it? 7 degrees of
Separation.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Right? In the world.
Easy, just 7
Yeah.
people. You
Well,
gotta
yeah.
get through.
Okay, but
Yeah.
what's your connection to Justin Bieber? Just tell him.
I don't know. Like, I've never met Justin Bieber. Okay, let's just. My partner's uncle, who is passed,
Yeah,
was Justin's godfather.
that's
That's a pretty close connection.
that's pretty close. I
right?
mean, that's only like 3 degrees of separation.
Literally.
Andrew's never met him either. But like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't think it'd be
Close.
hard to be like, we want to send some
We can
underwear
make
to
this
you.
work.
We can make this
this
happen.
work.
I don't know.
100%.
I think
Andrew's
so.
for sure going to be like, I want a finder's fee.
It's fine. No, okay. I was just curious
Yeah.
because again, like hearing you're in 100 stores, trying your product, like it is incredible.
Yeah. Okay.
Want to hear like the learnings and the pivots and the like.
One of the biggest takeaways I think I've had from growing a business has been the importance of having like an end goal in mind, like knowing where you want to be and working towards that, but knowing that like the path to getting there is going to be really
Zigzaggy.
zigzaggy,
I love
right?
that.
Like it's, we started off as a men's underwear company. I started off making men's boxer briefs, right? That was what our goal was to do, is to make, life-changing underwear. And we started going down this path of like, we're going to be a great underwear company. And then like pandemic hits and it's like, we got to pivot, right? Now we're a face mask company who's making masks for people who are in need of that sort of thing, right? We knew that's not going to go on forever, so we go, okay, what's what the next feature is going to be for us? Let's try out some ladies' underwear, right? Just as an add-on sort of thing. That then becomes the big part of the business. We're now a women's underwear company who's now making additional underwear for men, basically, right? Like we're doing this as like an add-on sort of thing now for our men, right? Like who knows where we're going to be going in the future, but like the end goal of still creating these like, super comfortable garments is there. But, I think being able to tweak and adjust has been, or like know that like this path is going to be moving back and forth and like you don't know where man, what's the best way for me to say this? Maybe like, have the overarching vision for where you want to be, but know that there's going to be willing to be swayed, I guess, in the moment. Maybe is the right way to say that.
I always describe things to my husband because my husband is like one track. Like he's like point A, point B, no pivot. And so I said to him one day, I said, I'm like the kind of train that has to go off onto a siding for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then come back. And then you go off to the other one because things come up and you have to like step off for a minute, let whatever pass, and then keep going and like have these moments. And I think too often it's like that fine. And we don't love balance. We're not like into balance here, but it is understanding like you can have a goal and understand that other things will come and the goal might like shift a little or change a little.
Yeah.
But to still focus on it so you don't become a company who's like, because I'm sure what you've experienced is so many opinions, which I have my own, like, I want you to create this and I want you to create this. But you have that, right? And some businesses I've seen get so caught up in what other people want from them that all of a sudden their goal is like not their own anymore.
Yeah.
We've all loved learning more about your business and such a cool business. Everyone needs to go and buy a pair for them and their spouse and then gift them a pair. Get a couple pairs. Like add to cart.
Multiples.
Add to cart.
Try them all out.
Yeah. But we like to finish off by asking our guests if they could share with our audience either the best piece of advice they've ever been given or that they like to share with others.
Man, you know, you sent this in an email to me and I completely forgot to think about this.
That's okay. Give it a second.
Off the top of your head.
I feel like you probably got something in your notes app.
In my notes app,
I feel like you're one of those
here.
type of people that you're just like, no, it doesn't have to be in your notes. I'm just like,
no,
He's like, wait a second, I think I do.
you know, like good advice.
Is this one worth sharing?
Oh, just go for it.
Go for it.
Okay, this is going to be interesting. I don't know if this is going to be interesting or not for you guys, but this is just about growing up. Is this okay to have have insights on this?
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, I'm actually just going to read this off because I think this is really interesting. I found this post on Reddit like years and years ago, and it was just about growing up. I'm just going to read you the post. I've saved it. I read this thing over and over again all the time.
This is it.
So hopefully this is going to be interesting to people. But this person wrote, they said, like, I had this discussion with my father about, this is about like this time of transitioning from like finding out when we are adults, basically, is what this is. He goes, I had this discussion with my father about this and came to an interesting conclusion. Adulthood follows a similar paradox to thesis ship. Have you ever heard of the thesis ship? Basically, it's a boat. It's a thought experiment, which is like if you take Thesis has this boat, and the wheel breaks, and you put a new wheel on it, and then the main breaks, and you put a new main on it, and at some point in time, every aspect of this boat has been replaced.
Okay.
And so, is this boat still the same boat? Is what the question is. And then it goes even further to say, then you use all those broken parts and you rebuild the boat again and go, now of these two boats, which one is Thesis ship? But anyhow, that's what it's a crazy thought experiment.
Yeah.
But anyhow, adulthood follows along a similar paradox to Thesis ship. When we were children, we saw adults as a constant. They were adults. We never experienced them transitioning into adults. And as such, we're unable to discern how it happened, and we have no precedent for what it looks like when an adolescent turns into an adult, so we cannot mark that point. Fast forward to today, the people who were adults when we were 10 are still adults. People who were teenagers when we were teenagers are still teenagers. Like Thesis ship, small things were changed, but they remain the same person as we observe them. In an interesting paradox, many of us were never given an absolute threshold to cross or conditions that ascertained adulthood, and it was impossible for us to derive them growing up. So we simply don't know where, following Thesis' narrative, we stop being the same ship. So now, I'll let you know in the secret of adulthood, the only reason your parents, elders, were adults was because you perceived them as being more responsible and capable than you. They saw themselves the same way that you see yourself now. If you want to be an adult, all you have to do is be responsible, capable, and self-reliant, and the rest will follow. I don't need to get emotional about this part because this actually isn't that interesting, but I think it's interesting to me at least. However, he left me with some important words, which I shouldn't be crying because this isn't that.
No, it's fine. I cry all the time.
No, but you're going to read. I'm going to read the sentence and be like, "Why is he crying about this?" He left me with some important words, and that is this. Poop jokes never stop being funny. It's a sign of maturity that you can push them aside for a moment to take care of business and enjoy them when you're done. And I love such a silly sentence, but
I love that.
I think about that a lot. I think, at least when it comes down to even trying to grow a business or be an adult or like be what that thing is like, you know, I think a lot of us deal with this, like, you know, insecurity of like, you know, what it means to be a responsible person. And I think it's important that we think about the fact that what it means to be responsible is to, you know, take it upon yourself and be responsible and know that like you are capable of doing these things. So anyhow, that's a really weird thing that I'd give advice on, but I thought it was really important to me and hopefully cool to you guys.
I love that. I have 3 siblings, and every once in a while when we hang out, we have conversations where we're like, do you ever now like think about the things that we would ask Dad? And with such certainty, he'd be like, no.
Yeah.
And you were just like, okay. And now as adults, you start to be like, why? But
It's
it
all
was
guesswork.
because they were perceived. I was like, you know, you know, why would I know? You know? So I think that's great. I love that you shared that with us. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
We want everyone to go and follow your brand. So can you share and purchase, but can you follow or share with our audience who might not know yet what your handle is so people can come and find you?
Yeah, find me at Devon and Lang, DEVONANDLANG. You can find us, on pretty much any social media platform. Search us up. If you want to find me on LinkedIn, you can just search for Tyler McCombs, and I post on there pretty consistently. So I'd love to chat with you guys there, and you can see some behind the scenes and all the cool stuff we're doing with Devon and Lang. And
is your website Devon and Lang?
DevonandLang.com. DevonandLang.com.
Great.
So yeah, we ship anywhere in the world, and you should get yourself some life-changing underwear. It's really good stuff.
Love it.
That's a great note.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you guys. It's been so much fun.
So good.
Thank you everyone for joining us on this episode of the Her Podcast. If you want to follow along with us, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at its.her.podcast. We can't wait to see you there.
Bye.
Bye. Adios.